Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Each episode will dive into the world of search engine optimization for cannabis dispensaries. We'll discuss the latest strategies and tactics to help your dispensary rank higher on search engines and attract more patients and customers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we explore how to maximize your online presence and stay ahead of the competition in the rapidly growing cannabis industry.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the High Rankings podcast. This week is episode 60. That is right. We have been gracing your eardrums for 60 whole episodes, and there'll be many more if I don't murder my co-host between now and then. Anyway, we are just back from a long Memorial weekend, 3 days off. Today is definitely feeling like Monday. How was your weekend?
So I went to the mountains. We left Thursday. Okay, so Memorial Day weekend, to avoid traffic going up to the Colorado mountains. Girlfriend and I left on Thursday, like mid-afternoon, so like, I don't know, 2, 3-ish. And we went to Winter Park, just outside of Winter Park, like 5 minutes. There's a little place called Fraser, and they have these new condos. These condos are freaking awesome. I sent you pictures, of course. You know, you got all butthurt, poopy pants. But that place is fucking cool. So I'll get a place there again when Trestle opens, which I was going to open the next couple of weeks because there was snow freaking everywhere. So that was kind of disappointing. I was a little butthurt. But went up to Winter Park, got there late Thursday, a couple nice dinners, and we're literally like walking distance to a brewery. So that brewery became the spot. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like close enough if you wanted to, like if there's no sound in the condo at all, you could hear like chatter on the patio of the brewery. It's that close, basically across the street. So that was cool. Did some cool activities, a little food tour of the area. That was pretty cool. So we came back Sunday mid-morning and there was zero traffic. It was freaking awesome because the one time you've come to Colorado in the past 10 years, you've been caught on I-70 and it is atrocious. That traffic is gross. So we completely avoided that.
Shit.
Yeah. So that was cool. She told me about a show called The Bear, which is on FX, which I thought was very cool. That was a good show. It's about a chef. He was I want to say he's like executive chef. That's like number one, right? In the kitchen. Executive, maybe it's sous chef.
Sous chef is assistant chef. Sous chef is like, does a lot of prep and stuff.
Okay. So he was the executive chef at like the top restaurant in the world, like in London or somewhere. And then something happened in the family and he came back to Chicago and he just works at this restaurant, which is, as they call it, a shithole. I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's like a hole in the wall, like, you know, sandwich place in Chicago. And the characters are fucking awesome. The dialogue is awesome. The dynamics, the character development is really good. It's really, really good. So, of course, I recommend it to you, but I know you're not going to watch. So I would recommend you watch Billions, which I don't think have you seen Billions?
No.
No, of course not. Okay, Billions, Succession, which I know you haven't seen, and then The Bear. Bear is very good. So watch a little of that and a little bit of family stuff when I got back. So yeah, that's about it. Playoffs. Of course, you watched the playoffs while we were there in Winter Park. Pulling for Edmonton. Dallas is pretty good. But that, on the other end of the country, you've got the Rangers and Panthers playing, and that Rangers goalie is fucking incredible. He's this wiry. Oh yeah. Avs were eliminated in overtime last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got. Dallas beat them in overtime. They got. So Dallas is now playing Edmonton, and I really hope Edmonton pulls it off. Edmonton has the best hockey player in the world. He's just on a shit team, and the only reason why the Oilers are in the playoffs is because he's that good, and this guy Connor McDavid is basically dragging his team through the playoffs. And I think it's a disservice to him because the team is like so bad. There's always a goaltending controversy every single year in the playoffs, and like he basically does everybody's job. Like he's just, guys, just give me the puck, get the puck out of the way. He was like Michael Jordan back in the day. Like he's that good. So I hope they advance. I don't know if they will because Dallas is really, really good. So yeah, that was basically it. What did you guys do? You're on the boat, I'm sure.
Yeah, Thursday I went to the beach That was nice. Friday, I just ran around, did errands, cleaned the house and stuff. So it was like done for the weekend. Kids are done with school now as of Friday. They are officially on summer break. So that's crazy. Then Saturday, we went on the
Kids are in the
boat.
house.
Yeah. Saturday, we went on the boat, and my husband's found this little sandbar thing that he really likes going to. So we just go there and we just anchor off, and then it's pretty shallow. Like most of the time, you could just stand up there. So we did that on Saturday, came home, and then had dinner with some friends. Saturday night, Sunday, went on the boat, went back to the sandbar. The water was like glass. It was so calm. It was unbelievably calm. So we did that Sunday. And then yesterday, we ran a few errands in the morning, and then we just kind of hung out at home and stuff, did pool stuff. We didn't really do a whole lot yesterday. This weekend was also the Monaco Grand Prix, which I don't believe for a second that you watched it. However, Charles Leclerc broke his Monaco curse and has now won the Monaco Grand Prix, which is fantastic. Because for those of you who don't know, Charles is from Monaco, which is a tiny principality in the south of France, although it does have its own prince and princess. They do have their own royalty. But anyway, so the chances of someone from Monaco actually winning a Monaco Grand Prix is like minor. And it took him, I don't know how many races he's done at Monaco. I know he's been on pole position 3 times. This was his 3rd pole position. But anyway, yeah, he has now won the Monaco Grand Prix. So I was very, very happy for him. So that was exciting. And that's about it. That is pretty much it. Spent the weekend in the sun, on the boat or whatever, with friends. And it was pretty cool, pretty chill, pretty relaxing. Read a lot. I think I'm on my 3rd book this weekend, I think. Something like that. That's what's it.
Sounds exciting.
It is.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, I got one of those, I think they're called Fires, Amazon Fires. Speaking of reading, so I can download books onto this thing. Like whenever I fly, I can just take that with me. So I was looking at the database. You basically download books from Amazon and just load it up on there. I think I'm like way behind, but I think it's like pretty damn cool. Speaking of reading, so I got to load up some books on there. I just bought 3 over the weekend, business books, of course. But yeah, and how is it now having the kids in the house, or are they in the house?
One of them is currently in the house. She's quiet though. It's nice. I mean, I don't really know what we're going to do all summer. We have a trip planned, me and one of the kids. We have a trip planned. We go every year to Georgia. So that's coming up less than a month from now. I'm not really sure what we're going to do because it's a long summer. So I'm going to have to figure something out. Last year was the last year that our youngest could do summer camp. So there is no more summer camp for them at the school that they go to. They've aged out of that. So we'll find stuff to do. I mean, we live in Florida where there's beaches. She's not a fan of the beach too much, but has agreed to come with me for a couple of days. But there's plenty of stuff to do. She loves to go to the thrift shops and look around. We like to go get the vibes at the bookstores. So this stuff, it's just, we got to figure out what we're going to do because it's a long summer.
Yeah, my mom basically just used to yell at me, just get out of the house. Just go do something. Find something to do. Get out. Don't do anything stupid. Here's a bike.
Times are different. Times are different. I should not be okay with that. Yeah. There's plenty of things we can figure out that we're going to do. My husband's pretty much working. I don't think I told you the story. Did I tell you the story about how he's got a new person starting to work with him? I probably didn't.
Yeah.
I did? Oh.
Yeah.
So that guy starts on Monday. So obviously that's going to take up some of his time. So I don't know. We'll find stuff. Also, scallop season's coming up July 1st. So I know for sure that my husband's going to be wanting to do that. We have a couple of weekend things planned. So yeah, I feel like the summer is like 10 weeks or something. It's so long. So yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We always do.
Exciting, riveting stuff, guys.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want to commit to something that's not going to happen. I hate to promise things to the kids or whatever and then not be able to plan out. So I'd rather not plan anything than be surprised by what we do. This week's kind of like taken up by a bunch of different things that I have to get done. So I'm sure this week will be sleeping in or something equally exciting for them because they also don't get to do that very often because of school. So, yeah.
Gotcha. What are we talking about today? Oh, first, what is this? We talked about this a little bit before we hopped on or hit record. This Google leak.
So I honestly don't know too much about it. I did a quick research into it, and I will say this. Take it with a grain of salt. from us because we have not had an opportunity to do any research to check the validity of what has been put out there. Allegedly, there were a shit ton of leaked documents, internal documents from Google. And these documents allegedly give us a look at what Google uses to rank content, which in itself is big news. But allegedly, some of these things that are in these documents that Google uses for ranking, allegedly, Google has prior said that they are not factors. So again, I also want to say that these documents, whilst they did specify the features that Google uses for ranking, they have not broken it down in terms of how they're weighted. What's more important than this? What's more important than that? They haven't said that. They just said that these ranking features, these are the ranking features. So again, just want to be on the safe side that we have not had an opportunity to really verify these claims. And from the short amount of research that we have done, it does appear to be a huge story. It has been picked up by a lot of people, but I also have not seen anywhere else confirmed that they have verified that this is legitimate. They haven't said it's not, but I also haven't read where they've said that 100% that it is. So just be aware. I will say that.
With that in mind, is there maybe 3 or 4 ranking factors?
Yeah, I mean, again, looking through this one article right now to make sure that
I think that some of this, like I screen grabbed you something from LinkedIn and I see it's like, okay, Google calculates domain authority. Google uses click data for rankings. There is a sandbox. Google uses Chrome data for rankings, like link diversity. Like this is all, I mean, it's all pretty basic stuff. I mean, I think it's, as long as you, like the 3 pillars that we talk about, technical SEO, content, and backlinks, as long as you have the like strong foundations in that, like the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah, I will say one of the things that I did note when I was reading a bunch of different things, just as an example of things that Google have said and these documents claim otherwise. An example of this is Google have claimed previously that they do not use domain authority as a metric, right? That they don't use it These documents allegedly are coming out and saying that they do in fact use domain authority as a ranking factor. We've always gone under the assumption that they do, and we've always tried to, when we do content outlines and we find our keywords, we've always taken the domain authority into account in terms of difficulty of keywords that we think are achievable for our clients. But that's just one example of where they've said it doesn't count, but these leaked documents allegedly say that they do. So, you know, as one commentator said, you should be keeping up with the algorithm anyway, and you should be A/B testing your own things anyway. So basically do your own testing, measure that yourself, because I think in a lot of ways that's going to be more accurate than apparently either what Google have said themselves or what's in these documents. So, you know, in terms of what you should be doing all of the things we've been telling you to do anyway, but also you should have your own measurements and the own results of your own A/B testing to be able to know what is working anyway, would be my takeaway from all of this.
Yeah. So much of SEO is testing, right? A/B testing.
100%.
And in controlled environments, of course. But I mean, again, just keeping the website clean in terms of technical SEO, not a bunch of BS APIs, good research content. You know, you don't have to have the highest ranking website on the entire internet between all the billions of websites, but you should have the best in your niche. And yeah, as long as your backlinks aren't shit, you have a clean website and you have good content, it protects you from getting, kicked in the teeth by Google.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're talking about today, huh?
Pretty much. Weirdly enough, we had planned this podcast out a while ago, and then it just so happens that we got wind of these leaked documents. When did you find it, yesterday or today?
This morning. I was getting my coffee.
Yeah, it was like super.
Fucking texting me, but what the fuck was I doing?
Nothing of any use. So actually we had already decided that we were going to do the episode today about how you can regain your dispensaries rankings on Google, if they drop, for example. So it's kind of not that necessarily goes hand in hand, but it's certainly helpful.
Timely.
Yeah, it's definitely timely. just bear in mind that we're not sure the validity of these leaks.
Allegedly, yes. Allegedly, it's.
I have said allegedly more times in the last 3 minutes than I think I have my entire life. I just think that we owe our audience the best version of this, of what's going on as we can. And I think we've always been about transparency. And because we ourselves have not been able to have an opportunity to look into the validity of it, and outside of the original person who got the documents and leaked them, as of the time of recording this, I have not seen anybody else be able to confirm the validity. And so allegedly, but also do your own research. Also do your own research. So anyway, yeah, so today we are going to talk about how you can regain the Google rankings of your dispensary. But, before we even get there, I guess my question is, before we talk about regaining them, let's talk about what would cause your Google ranking to drop. Give me a few examples of what you would think would cause your Google ranking to drop.
Yeah, we've played around with AI content. That would do it. Just going to ChatGPT, just saying, spit out hey, ChatGPT, please give me a 1,000 word blog post about recreational marijuana.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really solve anything. That doesn't really cater to your customers. It doesn't really provide helpful content, which Google has gone on record, by the way, for saying helpful content. So that will hurt in performance. And it's not that getting punished by an algorithm. Let's say there's 5 dispensaries in Kansas City, close to each other, for example.
Yeah.
The one that does not get hit by a algorithm update will continue to rank, while the other 4 will basically just be decimated and just get crushed. So one out of the 5 will continue to rank and be at the top of Google, while the others will be at the bottom. So having bad backlinks can do that, toxic backlinks, without getting too technical, like a PBN, private blog network. That was a big thing back in the day. A bunch of websites got decimated for that. And a bad website structure we see is very, very common, but those would be it. Mainly shit content and toxic backlinks. Bad backlinks will get kicked in the mouth by Google.
Also, I would say if your competition starts really working on their stuff, do you know what I mean? Then
if they start really climbing and you don't, kind of thing?
Yeah, if they're going to steal your organic traffic, if you don't maintain, an SEO campaign of your own, then yeah, I would definitely anticipate that they would effectively take some of your organic traffic, which is why we always say SEO on a website is an ongoing role. You can do it for 3 months and enjoy the benefits of that. But the minute that you stop doing that, then obviously if your competition is continuing, then they're going to take your traffic, which of course would lead to a drop in your ranking. So then obviously that leads us to talking about, so how do I now get my ranking back up? So in the example that I just used of your competition, that's a simple resolve is get back on your SEO campaign, a well thought out, well planned, well strategized SEO campaign, give it some time, and then that should most certainly help you basically steal your traffic back. And then if you're effective enough, steal some more. So get back where you already were and then increase your ranking for that specific example, obviously.
So how would you know how much, I put this in air quotes, how much SEO to do in order to get your traffic back?
Well, it's just a question of time. I mean, you know where you were, you know where you dropped to, and you know the time span that you dropped, right? So obviously you're not going to get it overnight, and I don't necessarily know that I would quantify it that way anyway. I think what I would do is acknowledge that I've dropped the ball in terms of my content. I haven't been focused on it. Come up with a roadmap and a plan of how moving forward you're going to focus on your SEO and just put your head down and do it. Obviously, keep track of your metrics. You can use Google Analytics for that. You can use Search Console. You can use Ahrefs or your SEMrush to keep an eye on it. But I wouldn't necessarily get too caught up in the minutiae of how much, as opposed to what's going to be more effective for you in the long run is just a solid full-time approach to SEO. You can never look at SEO I'm going to do it for 6 months and then I'm going to stop. I mean, you could look at it that way. And maybe for 9, 12 months, you'll be up there in the rankings, but you won't stay there. And so I think coming up with a longer term solution of how you're going to do SEO is better than looking at the numbers. You want to keep an eye on the numbers, obviously, but because here's the thing, you can give your all to SEO and you can have a full-time person on SEO and they do it really well and they know what they're doing, but your competitor could have 3 people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now they've got 3 times the effort and 3 times the content and 3 times of whatever. You can always be outdone because I'm sure most of our listeners don't have an unlimited SEO budget.
So you would assess the algorithm, let's say a Denver dispensary gets crushed. How do they know they got crushed in the first place? By checking their analytics, right? So like you said, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, maybe all of a sudden, like in the past 2 days, just a huge drop.
Sales.
Sessions, sales, sessions, visitors, etc. You can see all that in Google Analytics. You can analyze the URLs if you go to Search Console, the individual pages. And if it's like AI content or just shit content, you can do proper keyword research, hire a writer, and revamp that content, put in the proper page linkings. You should not do it like just kind of on the whim. Like you said, you should have a plan, like, proper spreadsheet, proper content calendar, and like benchmark, here's where we were when we got hit, and then 30 days, here's where we are now. Hopefully get that data back up and to the right. Yeah, I would revamp the content, do more like local citation, outbound link building, and analyze in 30 days and see where that is. And just keep building from there. Like you said, have a plan and then just keep doing that. Just rinse and repeat. If it's working, then 10x that. And then if what you're doing is working on top of what was not working, then 10x that, and just keep going and going and going and going and going.
So let's do another scenario then. Let's say you have not let up on your SEO. You have this roadmap. You have been pushing out content just as frequently as you have been all along, but you've noticed a drop. What would be the first thing you look at to figure out what's causing it?
I would do a technical audit. So
like Screaming Frog type thing?
Yeah. Screaming Frog. That's such a badass tool. So Screaming Frog and see if there's any technical errors like pages are missing title tags, meta descriptions. H1 is missing on this page, something like that. Get the proper keywords in there.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a fast site. So there's no like bloated images. There's no video carousels. There's none of that bullshit on there. Strip that out. I would identify which pages have dropped because again, Google ranks web pages, not websites. Identify which pages have dropped in performance, revamp them. Like I just said, like content, meta tags, keywords, strip them down. I think all content on a page should make a case for itself. If it's like a video carousel, get that out of there and make sure it's technically sound with like schema markup or whatever it is. So again, benchmark where you were when you got hit, clean it up, new content in there, benchmark 30 days after that, and then see how that is. And then rinse and repeat for all the other pages on there. Because I highly doubt it's one page. It's probably, if you've got a decent site that's 150 pages or whatever it is, it's probably 20% of the pages are causing 80% of the issues.
Yeah, pretty much. It's typically going to be one of the two. It's either going to be you've kind of slacked on your SEO and or your competition has really ramped up theirs, or it's going to be a technical issue. Like, so obviously we run the technical audit, we check that. You also check your Google, your GMB, make sure everything's good with that. If it's none of those 2/3,
probably backlinks then.
Okay, or backlinks.
Yeah.
But did backlinks not come up? No, they wouldn't.
Do an audit.
Yeah.
Like you have to do like an audit of the backlinks. Make sure there's no toxic backlinks, no dirty backlinks or anything like that. Yeah. And if there are, just disavow them and move on to the technical side. Yeah.
Yeah. And then your only other option would be the Google algorithm has changed, which it does. But that is something that you should continuously be on top of anyway, because it does change. And that's not, I know we just talked about the leaking documents. I'm not referring to that. I'm talking to like Google will come out and say, we're now looking at this or looking at this, like they did when they talked about AI and how if they find your content is written by AI, that they will ding you for that. So those are the kind of things that we mean when we say like the algorithm that Google uses, that Google admits to using, like that has changed. And you'll know that because they will come out 100%. And especially with the rise of AI, as we've had it so much in the last like couple of years, that's something you really do need to pay attention to, because they will 100% ding you. And it doesn't just necessarily need to be AI content. It can also be AI imaging. They can ding you for that as well. So you definitely need to stay on top of anything that Google announces as far as what they use for rank.
Those are such weird images too. Like, sorry to cut you off, but like I saw one on LinkedIn that was, of course, they were making fun of the image. I forgot who posted it, but it was like somebody asked ChatGPT, generate an image of a millennial workplace, and there's like hands like coming out of like the side of the photo, and like somebody's head was like an owl's turned like all the way around or something, and there was like 3 extra legs underneath the table of where like somebody was sitting. It was just kind of weird. Like, you can tell these AI images, and they're not that great.
They're not. I know we've done an episode on AI a while ago, but to reiterate, especially since we are now in an election year, I just think that AI is scary in a lot of ways, because there are a lot of people, especially like with deep fakes and voices and stuff like that, where you can't tell, you 100% could not tell that wasn't that person. Like, I'm talking about your average Joe, right? So I do think that there will have to be some kind of law that comes out that says if you're using an AI generated anything, voice, video, whatever, that you have to mark it as such, because that reason, especially in an election year when it would be very easy for one opponent to literally create a video of their opponent saying something they never said. You know what I mean? And people just taking it and thinking that that's true, which obviously in the political world has far greater implications than what we do in a daily life. But I remember when they started coming out on, I think it started with mascara commercials. They would say that this particular mascara could make your eyelashes go from this to this. But the truth of the matter was they were putting fake eyelashes into the models in the commercials and then claiming that it was in fact the mascara. And they got dinged for it, and they had to start putting disclaimers on the ads that, in fact, they've been enhanced, because it's legitimately false advertising. So I do think at some point there will be some regulation around AI. I just don't know outside of America how you would police that. If I think it's obviously a bigger problem, but that's why we like to stay away from AI. There's no real reason for you to use AI unless, for example, we've used it if we wanted to, like, hey, we're doing a piece of content on XYZ. Could you give us a few examples of like titles, right? And then we can see what they come up with, and we can be like, I like that, but let's change it to this. Or this is really good, but like, you would get the idea, but you don't use the exact thing it's telling you. So I think for that, it's fine. But anything outside of that, I just think you need to stay away from it. And there's no reason why you don't have someone writing your stuff, whether you do it yourself, whether you hire writers. There are so many great writers out there in the dispensary marijuana industry. Obviously, you can source your own imaging because you have your own dispensary. And if not, then you can buy images from, say, Getty or somewhere like that. Just, I think at this point, you just have to err on the side of caution as far as AI goes.
It's a great tool. I don't think it's a crutch. I think it's becoming a crutch. It should not be a crutch. It can do some pretty cool things, generating like meta description ideas or title tag ideas, even content clusters. Other than that, it kind of creeps me out. I will say, way back before we had the agency and our old agency, we had the idea to only niche down to dispensaries. And it did come up with well, actually, I hate to say it, but you did have the idea for the name of the podcast, but ChatGPT had the same exact idea too. So that was pretty wild.
That was after I came up with the name, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was after you came up with the idea, yeah. But that was the very first thing it spit out was High Rankings podcast.
Yeah.
And then my head exploded and I was like, holy shit. And then I texted you, and I think you probably texted like a middle finger emoji or something. I don't know.
That is true, because we were throwing around a few names.
Yeah.
Because obviously, whatever you name your podcast needs to A, make sense, but B, tell your listeners what you do, what your podcast is about. And where we did throw a few names out, and then in case there was something better out there, we did it. You did it, actually. I don't think we were even on a Zoom call at the time, and you sent it to me, and I was like, holy shit. Like,
yeah, it was at night. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's fucking wild.
But then I think in that respect, what it did was like back up that we had a good idea. You know what I mean? like, oh, okay, so we came up with this, but clearly it's going to work, So again, like you said, it's not a crutch, but it is a really helpful, it's just another tool in your arsenal.
Right. All right, back to recovering from getting punched in the mouth. We've recovered so far.
Did you say I'm getting punched in the mouth?
No, back recovering from getting punched in the mouth, referring to Google.
Oh, I was like, what?
No.
What's wrong with you? I'm getting punched in the mouth. Okay.
I think it's important too. Like one of the things, I believe this is mentioned in that document leak, was have a strong brand, like branded searches. So your local branded search in your community, hopefully it doesn't sound redundant. Your dispenser being searched in your community, like that is so big. I think that is a foolproof way, as long as that number increases. So like building your social media presence, having local events, being present in the community, and people searching for dispensary name, not going to the Google search bar or a browser search bar and typing in www.charliesdispensary.com, but somebody actually going into a search engine and searching Charlie's Dispensary. Those are two very, very different things. So as long as that number increases, the number of your branded searches, that is a very strong way to protect your website. That adds to domain authority, of course, click-through rates. It's a very, very good thing for your website.
I'm just going to quickly read off the list of things that on this leaked document where they talk about
allegedly.
They talk about reasons why your content can allegedly be demoted. So here's a bunch of reasons that this particular article talks about. It says a link does not match the target site, which that you would find in your Screaming Frog audit. SERP signals indicate user dissatisfaction. So I'm assuming what they mean is when they get the results page, they don't click on any of the results, is what I think. I'm not sure. This one I don't really understand. Product reviews? I don't know why you would get demoted for product reviews, but whatever.
Like bad product reviews? That's user generated.
Right. It just says
like on an e-commerce website, like selling shoes.
Yeah.
The website is individually indexing a pair of Adidas and he gets a bad review, that could sink it. Or multiple bad reviews, it sounds like. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Okay, next would be location. Then we have exact match domains.
That's interesting.
And lastly, porn.
Yeah, you see that. Exact match names. So they're saying, so like Denver Plumbers, for example, or like Denver Dispensary.
Yeah.
Like that. Like Google's basically giving somebody a middle finger because that person registering that domain thinks they're giving Google a middle finger when it's like Google's like 10 steps ahead.
Okay.
You used to be able to do that back in the day. So I see it like I see trucks driving around here, like in the Denver area, like Denver Plumber, best Denver Plumber or something like, like that. That's why they do that.
Sneaky. Yeah. So those were just two that were listed on this particular article about the alleged leaks from Google.
Okay.
But none of those are really surprising.
Right. Really, just keep your website fresh. No, it's easy for us to say this, but keep your website fresh.
Yeah.
Keep navigation clean. Don't have a bunch of bloated garbage on your website. Have good content with researched keywords, and don't have toxic backlinks. It should be good. Just keep with fundamentals and it'll be solid. Allegedly.
It'll
be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That about wraps up.
That does. I think that just about covers it for this week's episode. Just remember, do your own research, but also do your own testing because I think that's vitally important.
And stay updated on your site's performance. Pardon me. Stay updated on your site's performance. Like check, if not every morning or like lunchtime, or if not every day, at least every other day. Like you won't know you get punched in the mouth at Google if you don't check your data. So.
And you can, whatever you use to audit your website, you can set it up to do it automatically. So there's literally no reason why you don't do it. Honestly.
Yeah, like seriously.
Yeah, seriously. All right. Well, that's it for this week. You can find us in the usual spots: LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review. We do know that our listener count is climbing, which we're very happy about, very grateful for. So if you've made it all the way to the end and you would like to give us a review, we would love one. And I think that's it. We'll be back next week where we will be in the month of June. for another episode. So until then, have a great week.
Peace. We're out.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.